So my name is Dirk Vansintjan. I'm from the Flemish-speaking part of Belgium, and I am for my cooperative, which is called EcoPower. I'm the president of rescoop.eu, which is the European Federation of Citizen Energy Cooperatives. Um, my cooperative, EcoPower, was founded in the place where I live. It's an old water mill from the 13th century. And we founded it with 10 people, and now after 30 years, we are 60,000. So about 1.6% of the Flemish households are a member and have the green electricity from our own wind turbines, water wheels, and so on. So what about the federation? We represent about directly or indirectly through national or federal federations about 1,900 energy cooperatives, but we believe there are more than 3,400 initiatives which we could consider as cooperatives around in Europe. To give you an example, it is said that in Denmark there are more than 1,000, but we only have 3 or 4 members. So we now have 13 employees in the federation, board of 8 cooperatives. From Germany, it's DGRV, which is in fact the sort of umbrella above all cooperatives, not only energy cooperatives, which is a board member. And we have, you see there are 12 federations. So we are not present in every European country. This is the old map of our old website, but it gives you a better impression of where most of the energy cooperatives are situated. So it's more something of Northwestern Europe than of Southern Europe. And it's not something in the former communist countries. And so we have very few members. On this map, our one member in Romania is not even mentioned yet. So this is a challenge for the federation, is to spread to bring every European citizen the same opportunities as we have already taken in the northwestern part of Europe. So for us, it's not really necessary that our members have the legal entity of a cooperative, because in certain countries this is not. There isn't even something that is called a cooperative. But what is important, that it's a group of citizens who cooperate in a democratic way on energy transition projects, and that they follow indeed the ICA principles you can read there. So these are the 7 International Cooperative Alliance principles. So our federation joined the cooperative movement a few years ago, and we are now recognized as a separate sector in the International Cooperative Alliance, at least in the wing of Europe. So I will try to give you an overview of what these cooperatives are doing across Europe. It's not only about production of renewable energy, but some of them supply the energy, some of them, like that's what your intention is in Berlin, they have the distribution grid, but it's also about flexibility services, storage, virtual power plant, demand response. It's about energy monitoring and helping members to save energy. It's when we look at Denmark, there are more than 300 district heating cooperatives, and what's also very interesting now is electrical car sharing. I will come back to this. And so, so we have among the members said there are those, a lot of them only produce renewable energy. These are some examples from across Europe. Some of them supply, like Enercop in France. It was an initiative also where also Greenpeace France was involved, and Copernico from Portugal, for instance, Goiner from the Basque Country, and Greenpeace Energy in Germany. And some of them produce and supply. My own cooperative, the name is not mentioned, it's EcoPower. So we produce about 100 gigawatt hours a year, and that's a bit more than our members consume. And one other big example is Somenergia, fast-growing energy cooperative that started in Girona in Catalonia, but now is active in the whole of Spain. And then we have the distribution system operators. I'm very proud to be Stroomrebel of Schönau 2 years ago. So Schönau is a bright example, but actually it's not something new in Germany. This is the numbers of electricity distribution cooperatives in Germany until 1934. So there were about 6,000 of them. And I was told that only 40 of them survived Nazism, communism, neoliberalism, whatever. So this is something that was quite important in the electrification of the rural areas, not only in Germany but across Europe. So, for instance, you find in the south of South Tyrol, in the north of Italy, there are about 40 energy cooperatives that were created after the First World War, after the region was became part of Italy, and the people had to do it themselves because the Italians were not had no intention to bring electricity to these remote German-speaking villages. And so most of these cooperatives are more than a century old, and they work very well together in the Südtiroler Energieverein, which is very interesting for us because they not only speak German, but also quite some English. So that's easier to make contact with for us as a federation than Italians who mostly only speak Italian. But also in the United States, for instance, about 70% of the country is covered, is supplied with electricity. So all rural areas are supplied by electricity cooperatives. So they supply 1 out of 8 Americans with electricity. There are more than 700 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And what is interesting, they have a collaboration. It's called Enreca International, and they help communities across the globe in setting up energy cooperatives. Like the example in the Philippines, there it started 50 years ago already, and now about 56 million people in the Philippines get electricity from energy cooperatives. But also in Argentina, for instance, there are 240 electricity distribution cooperatives, and actually the president of the International Cooperative Alliance is an Argentinian from an energy cooperative. So some of the members in Europe, I return to the overview of what they do. They monitor the consumption of citizens and schools and small businesses to give an insight so that people can take measures to consume less. So we have one in Flanders. They share the offices with EcoPower, for instance. And it seems that adding a sort of competition, your neighbor is doing it better than you, helps. To give you an idea, the average member of my cooperative, EcoPower, consumes half of the average Flemish household. So, and we saw the same result in other energy cooperatives that are also supplier, that after a while, the members of the energy cooperatives consume significantly less than average consumers of other suppliers. So we have very interesting invoicing, which gives a lot of information. Some people find it too much information, but okay, it gives you an insight in your consumption. Some members are active in helping, some cooperatives are active in helping people renovate their homes in home retrofits. And even we now have a European project where it's about financing the renovation of homes of people who can't afford it, so where the cooperative invests. And there are training programs to consume less. These are some examples. A cooperative in the town where I was born, in Halle, in Flanders, not in Germany. There, the cooperative invested in the relighting, in the LED lights, the street lights of the city. So the city didn't invest, but the cooperative did the investment. Some of the members are very much interested in have interesting projects in European funded projects on flexibility, demand response, and community virtual power plants, like in the city of Ghent, for instance, in Flanders. Some other invest in district heating, like in the city of Ostend, my own cooperative. We also have a wood pellet factory with locally sourced wood from the region. And electrical car sharing, there are some, we brought them together at the European level, and we now share the same app. And there is a European cooperative which is called the Mobility Factory. This morning was the General Assembly. There are some German members as well, Urstrom, for instance. And so we co-developed the app, and so that that it's easier for energy cooperatives to start the same service for their members. So, so our federation. So we, what do we do? Actually, we represent the voice of citizens and their cooperatives, energy cooperatives, in the European platform. So you could call us lobbyists, or the cleaner word is advocacy officers, or we do advocacy. And we support the startup of new rescoops. We provide them with services, and we promote the business model throughout Europe, and Eastern Europe and the Balkans is a problem. We don't do this alone. In Brussels, we have what we call the Community Power Coalition. There's a new website out last week. We team up with city networks like Climate Alliance, Energy Cities, and ICLE, with the environmental movement like Greenpeace, Can Europe, Friends of the Earth Europe, and World Wildlife Fund. With it's 40 organizations who all support the idea of getting citizens in the center of the energy policy of Europe. We also do some advocacy with Cooperatives Europe, which is the European branch of ICA. We are part of the Coalition for Energy Savings, Bridge, that's a research group. We're part of the Right to Energy Coalition because we think energy is a right that everyone has, and poor people shouldn't be deprived of energy. And we are also working together with the European Climate Foundation. So our work, so Federation started in 2013, and already 2 years later, we found some very familiar sentences when the Commission in 2015 said that they would revise all the energy directives, and they called it Clean Energy for All Europeans, and that was very important. They started talking about us as citizens and not anymore as consumers. And so they wanted to put the citizen in the center of the energy transition. And so these were our words. In fact, these were the words we have been telling commissioners and the people from the administration for a few years. And I must say that we were more or less welcomed by a lot of people working for the Commission. Among them, quite a lot of Germans who were at home member of an energy cooperative. So this was very helpful indeed. So what did we get? We got in two very important directives. We got in the electricity directive, we got the definition where we are called citizen energy communities. The word cooperative is not there because we asked that to take it out because some of our members are not a cooperative. They are NGOs, they are trusts, they are not-for-profit legal entities. So, and also the word cooperative in Eastern Europe makes people think of communism, and so this was not very welcome at that time. The two definitions, the other one is the Renewable Energy Directive. They are unfortunately not identical. This was not the intention. It was not intentional that they are not identical. but it is because different members of the European Parliament in different committees, other people from member state administrations, other people from the Commission worked on the different directives. So we've been working very hard to try to make them identical, which is for 90% the case. You will see that if you compare it with the 7 cooperative principles, you will see that we tried and we succeeded in getting most of these principles in the definitions. And what is very important, that it is said that the primary purpose of a citizen energy community, and you will see it in the other definition as well, is to provide environmental, economic, or social community benefits for its members or the local area where it operates, rather than financial profits. So this is a very important sentence. So actually what many people think, and we illustrate it like this, is that there is a new player, it is a new game, and it is a new playing field. So where in the public, the authorities, and it's public player, and then there were the market players, and we as citizens, we were we were looking at the game, and the game was about money. And now we want to be, we organized ourselves. We are not spectators. We are players in a game with 3 parties. So we have aspects of the public player. We also have aspects of the market player, but we are different. So now with these directives, all the member states, they have to make an enabling framework so that it becomes easy for citizens to organize themselves and play this central role in the energy transition. Not all member states are doing this. And I can tell you that Germany is not the most progressive member state in the whole story of the transposition of the directives. They thought they didn't have to do anything, but that's not the case. So we are quite worried about what will happen. We will look with big eyes to the elections. We hope that the results will be of such a kind that it will enable you to take up this central role in the energy transition, because according to us, it will only succeed if we are able to own the major part of the energy production facilities of the future. So it has no sense that in a rural area in France, for instance, that the wind turbines are owned by the big energy companies of the past. And so we must see that the profits stay as local as possible, and that the money doesn't flow away, like if it flows away now to Saudi Arabia or to Russia or to Algeria or to wherever, to regimes we don't really like. We must see that the profits of the renewable energy production stay local in the hands of citizens and local players. So we produced a transposition guidance for the member states, and we give examples of where it worked. One of the best examples is still Scotland, and now Ireland is more or less following this. I won't read everything. So they have had this system of supporting community energy for 10 years, and it's a big success. It's called the CARE scheme. Local Energy Scotland is running it. Have a look at it if you want to have inspiration to tell your politicians how it should work, this enabling framework. So we monitor the transposition in the member states. We're very lucky we have these European projects that allow us to do this. Also the European Climate Foundation, and now also Patagonia gives us support to do this work and to spread the model throughout Europe. So you can find a lot of information on our website. Unfortunately, it's mainly in English, but we have this practical guide, which has been translated it's being translated in 12 languages, but unfortunately not in German. So I'm finishing the translation in Dutch, but so far, because Bundesbürgerenergie has something similar, and it seemed not useful to translate this guide, which is not really focused on Germany alone. So So that's the reason why there is no German translation. Probably, maybe you didn't see it yet, but Patagonia financed a movie about the movement. It's out now, and it's also released in Germany. I think almost 1 million people already watched the movie, and Schönau is one of the stars in it. So that's. Yeah, we are very active in research so that we build up knowledge we can share with the members. These are all European projects. You can find more information on our website. We also have a service contract for helping European islands. There are more than 2,000 of them in their transition. And also indirect projects. There are some German partners there. Oberrosfe, where they have a district heating. And that's, yeah, ICF. There's an OIKI project financed by the Federal Ministry of Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety in Germany. It's focusing on the Balkans, where we are involved together with Bundesbürger Energie, I think. We have a lot of publications. You can find it on our website. And finally, we are very much attracted by the donut economy theory of Kate Raworth. And this is an impression of how we see our donuts, so that we have to come to not only an energy sector, but our whole society, our whole the way we are acting on Earth. The economy should work within the boundaries of Mother Earth. So this is an impression made by my colleague Miriam of what it could look like for us. So I hope it was not too long, and maybe you have questions that you can put them later.